And that shit forgot fucked up.
Damn.
Okay, so no, but so yeah, tradition. I just think sometimes, like for example, here in Spain, right? I'm drinking a wine. Is it the beautiful wine from Spain? And this is, I'm trying to let the thoughts flow, and I'm trying to feel comfortable and make my guests feel comfortable because sometimes they fear saying the wrong things, right? Because there are some of you out there that are just looking to inflict pain, right? Because you have little fucking loser lives, right? And you want to
Wow.
fucking make others like have a worse life than yours, right? But the people here, they want to feel comfortable in saying things that they feel because at the end of the day, debate and ideas are created from fucking up sometimes and thinking the wrong things and then fucking,
And then
so
addressing it and correcting it.
yeah, so like the way that culture works and the way what we qualify as being good or bad sometimes can vary. Like here in Spain, they have a culture of killing bulls, right? And then you have the animal people that are very mad about it, and then you hear people that are in that culture and they actually give you, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best argument, but they give you a good argument, like about how like this creates a business, this provides for a lot of families, and like the bulls wouldn't be like the rate the you wouldn't have the bulls as you have them now, the population, if it wasn't because there was a business behind it, that was a tradition of bullfighting. And so it does get you thinking, like, is it right for me to just be like, no, fuck your culture because we got to protect the animal, but then on the other side it's like, should we protect your culture? We have to kill the animal. So it's I think these are important debates to have.
That kind of goes into the conservatories in Africa where they are funded by the hunters. Like the hunters go and hunt, let's say a lion or whatever animal that they want to hunt, and they pay X amount, and supposedly that money goes towards the conservation of that animal. So like towards the breeding, they fence them in a certain area so that they're secure, feed them, keep them safe, keep them fed, and then every once in a while, every time a hunter decides, he goes and kills them.
And that's actually fucked up because I looked into that, and even though it sounds contradictory, if there wasn't that, there wouldn't be any rhinos left, for example.
Right. They
So
wouldn't
like,
survive
so
per
they're
se.
able to, for example, breed 100 rhinos a year, and they sacrifice 10 of them. But the 10 that they sacrifice, they charge 100,000 for each of them, which make them $1 million, which is able to provide weapons and protection because they need to protect these animals. Otherwise, they kill them for the tusk
From the poachers.
or for
Yeah.
yeah. So it's crazy how in life there's things that might seem unmoral, but you have to sometimes think deeper. Like hunters, right? Like I used to be super against guns and like hunting and all this shit, and then I like people that hunt and only eat from what they hunt. Like I go to the supermarket and get bacon and get pork chops and get all this shit, and it's like it would be hypocritical for me to be like, no, I fuck hunting, when like I'm getting it already butchered up. So like I'm the worst in that chain. Now I'm not talking about people that go and hunt giraffes and lions for
For
Big
sport.
game
for
hunting.
trophy. I'm talking about like Joe Rogan getting an arrow and a bow and arrow and hunting a deer and then chopping it off and making fucking sausages. Like I don't know what do you think about that? Are you an animal lover or do you kill them?
If you're gonna do it that way, right?
Like
You're
do
gonna,
it
you're gonna
the
like
natural way.
the natural way. If you're gonna eat meat, yeah, the best thing to do is to go and put in the work, get it yourself, and you have this whole experience. I mean, it's an intimate bond between you and the animal. As messed up as it is that you're taking its life, but at least
So,
you're doing it in a humane way, or at least as humane as possible. You're doing it to feed yourself and your family. You're not just putting up their head on a wall. So if you're gonna go that route, yeah, that's
Yo, Fear, could you tilt your camera a bit more down?
all right.
Because I'm not. Yeah, there. What do you think, BJ?
The situation arises where, like, let's say hypothetically speaking, we all go vegan. The whole world goes vegan, right? And there's no more cattle production, no more.
No
I mean,
more
like,
Crunchwrap Supremes.
no, I mean they're still vegan. Like, I mean, you can still have vegan Crunchwrap Supremes,
Yeah.
but
Is that a Crunchwrap Supreme though, BJ? And you be real with me.
um, let's go with a Crunchwrap mediocre.
Okay. Not Supreme.
No, I was playing. But the whole thing stems with the fact that okay, so we're no longer hunting or eating these animals. Then there's no reason for us to be producing these animals. So I would think that they'd eventually go extinct. Like you're fighting for people not to eat these animals, but other if that weren't the case, if we weren't eating pigs or we weren't eating cows, would they be being produced at that rate?
Well, they
No,
wouldn't
because
exist.
They wouldn't necessarily go extinct.
No, but like cows and pigs, as we know them today, they were made by us. Like they were bred by us to become like this mass-produced animal. And same
they
with
wouldn't
chickens. There would be
they wouldn't go
wild
extinct.
boars and shit.
but we'd put them like in a certain like you just start pushing them away in a certain area and just let them roam free. If they die, they die. If they live, they live. Who cares? Because we're not eating them anymore, quote unquote. You know, in this hypothetical world where
Okay.
everyone's vegan.
Okay, so what's your point?
So then the PETA people are fighting. I mean, like, okay, so okay, so we're fighting
You're
for the
PETA.
rights of these animals. So people like me, I guess, are fighting for the rights of these animals
Okay.
to not get eaten.
PETA, bitch.
But in
Uh-huh.
doing so, we essentially terminate them.
Okay, so what you're saying is, if we don't eat them and just release them, they will just get owned by fucking,
We need
like,
to eat them.
yeah.
for their benefit, not for mine.
I wouldn't go that far.
We need to eat them so that they at least have an experience of being born, then going through a like a little like belt, and then fucking getting chopped off by a Mexican who's being paid on the minimum wage.
Well,
No, because we're not even using them for belts anymore. We're not, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Uh-huh.
there'd still be
In the case.
conservation efforts, though. Just like we don't eat tigers, and we take care of tigers, make sure they don't go extinct. I think more efforts we put into keeping them.
Yeah, you're saying like
Yeah,
like
but
eating,
then we'd have
eating them
we'd
keeps them
have-
alive.
We'd have them in a zoo. We'd have a cow in a zoo. We wouldn't have them in the wild. We'd have a chicken in the zoo.
I'll chop
we would
that
have 'em in
bitch
the wild.
up. Straight up.
Like you understand that the zoo is basically like the last thing for them to be exist, and then after that, it's
So
gone.
you think it would be better
Well,
if
they
we
take a
open up
sample.
the tiger market? Like just
They
get,
take a sample, and
like-
isn't the goal of the zoo that they collect enough money to then go into each animal,
Habitat?
into each wherever it may be, for the conservation of that species?
yeah, right.
In theory, in theory.
So you're saying that the Brooklyn Zoo is going to Africa
Well,
and conserve
maybe not for every single
tigers?
one, but I've been in the St. Louis Zoo, for example. Like they'll have stations where you can drop off or donate money for a specific cause for a specific animal, and then I guess they round up that money and they send it to whoever's leading the efforts for the conservation. Like I'm sure meerkats get fucked, but tigers get a shit ton of money. I don't know how they distribute the funds. 'Cause there's
I hear the
favoritism
meerkats are
involved.
getting too much funding recently.
We gotta cut back.
Fucking
Come
Timon.
back on the meerkats. No, but I feel you. I mean, like, so isn't it hypocritical for people to criticize zoos? They're like, they're keeping them in there. Oh my god! But then, like, the zoos actually, in theory, give some of their earnings to like make sure that,
Right, because then like, what if we would eliminate zoos too? Like, let's say, it's inhumane to keep them in cages. They should be loose, lying around in their own habitat. So
Inside
then
the park.
they ban zoos. Like you understand, like, and the same thing with SeaWorld. That whole shit. But I mean, the ocean is a different, the whole different
like,
beast.
would you put it like in different categories, like a tiger? I mean, you shouldn't though, because even though the sea is vast, I mean, like, I don't know, like maybe Busch Gardens has it figured out, or like Animal Kingdom, where they have these big ass places and they sort of roam like if they were in the plains of Africa, even though they're in Kissimmee, Orlando, next to the fucking popcorn maker. But like I guess we're more uptight about like the orcas in SeaWorld, but then we don't give a fuck about beat the tiger in Animal Kingdom. Like fuck him.
Well, maybe what if we had a big enough fish tank for that orca? Would it be different?
Like what? Like the ocean?
I mean, yeah, but but
Well-
also the Serengeti, like you're not gonna fit that shit in Animal Kingdom, so it's the same shit. Like I'm just saying, if people are
Yeah, but
gonna
the tanks
outroar,
the tanks in SeaWorld like wouldn't be compared to the safari that they have in Animal Kingdom.
Okay, that's true,
Like
right?
you don't have the equivalent there.
You don't have the equivalency.
I think what we're trying to get to is that sometimes people make a fuss and a big deal about something to try to cancel it, but they don't realize that in canceling that, the repercussions that plays into down the line for that animal or for that whatever cause that you're trying to do. Sometimes they canceling whatever that little aspect of that world actually detriments the entire livelihood of that animal species, so on and so
In the
forth.
case with the orcas in SeaWorld, though, from what
No,
from,
orcas,
from
no.
what I understand, they are being fucked. Actually, I don't
Yeah,
know if
the or-
SeaWorld still continues, but
the
I should.
the
I gotta look into
really
their annual
fucking-
passes because they might be cheaper nowadays. But no, but I do get what you're saying. Like with a whale and shit, you might you gotta get a bigger pool. And,
A bigger pool.
And I guess with a lion, like the Animal Kingdom one is pretty straight.
No, and not I mean not only whales, but like I mean they've found that with bears, with tigers, like with, and then that's the other thing. Like certain animals have higher intelligence capacity. You know, like some animals are just running on instinct, but others animals like the octopus they think. So imagine you thinking, be like, fuck, I'm stuck in this place for God knows how long. I've been here for years, for decades, and this is the same shit every day. You know?
I have
I'm fucking
Julie,
going crazy.
have Julie
Same
on my
foot
back.
long
Next-
hot dog.
The next motherfucker that gives me a fish, I'm a fucking
He'd eat his ass.
And then they're like, oh, the octopus was sacrificed because he was being violent and shit. This
Well,
motherfucker's
you think
been
that's the
giving
issue?
bars. What?
The issue is that they're having them perform, and that's why they canceled the circus, right? But the zoo hasn't gotten canceled because they're not doing anything; they're just being animals. But at SeaWorld, they haven't. They expect the dolphins to do flips whenever they give them the fish, or they expect the orca to do the big splash.
Goddamn, do a flip, goddamn. Play your heart out, you little bitch. No, but do you think so? Also, the circus got canceled.
Yeah,
well,
there's
like,
no more ringling.
circus animals got canceled.
In
So like the incorporation of animals in the circus, yeah, that's canceled. You could still have a circus. You could still have people flying around in trapeze and shit. But
like if you're gonna break your neck, you would break your own.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Okay.
But the lion can't consent to
can't sign a waiver.
you know, to being whipped and shit.
But every once in a while, the lion wins and just rips some motherfucker's neck off,
Damn.
right?
You heard about one of the Siegfried and Roy guys died recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From like a
Mauling?
No, I think just from being old. They're old.
what the fuck is it? How is this relevant to it?
You talking about lions and lions winning sometimes reminded me of the Siegfried guy.
because the lion won because he eventually died of being old. The lion lost, bro. The lion got fucked. This motherfucker should have got him mauled years ago. He died of old age. That's a win. That's a win for the man.
Well, one of them did, I think.
Got mauled.
Yeah,
I mean,
But
if you
survived.
do that shit, I mean, like
you're expecting it.
straight
Yeah.
up, like when I saw like the Tiger King and shit, like if you're fucking around with like animals like that, like part of me doesn't really. I mean, like it's horrible, but I wouldn't really feel bad. Like part of me is like, dog, you playing with motherfucking monsters. A tiger, a lion, that's a fucking killing machine. Like I find it insulting that you think that you could fucking have control over this beast. Like it almost makes me feel like, motherfucker, if you're playing around with fire, like no, because I was raised with a little guy. You don't give a fuck. You think this motherfucker signs to Facebook and watches reality shows? This motherfucker's there to maul people, dog. So it gets me pissed when you have like people like, yeah, or like a shark. No, like we know the essence of this. You don't know shit. This is an animal that's lived for thousands of fucking years. There's sharks that are 500 years old. You don't know shit. Telling me about like, no, the fucking sense of he's more scared of me than I'm scared of him. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Sorry.
So you
about
think
that.
what
I don't
happened
know
with
why I
Steve
went to that
Irwin? Steve Irwin was inevitable. There's like a poetic way to end his life.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't like talk shit about him. That's fucked. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I don't know if he was too like edgy about it. Was he a bit like
He was
I'm
really
gonna
edgy.
stick my head in his beehive and see what happens. That was a Great Dane Cook joke. I'm gonna open up this. I'm gonna open up this crocodile head, put my head inside, see what happens. Did he do that bit? Before he passed, I would assume.
I would assume.
I'm assuming, yeah.
But then it doesn't really age well, right?
I mean, it's still funny that he would say something like that. But the thing is that the way he died I think it's situational, really. Like, it was just by chance that really happened.
Yeah,
The way
it was
that-
kind of like, from what I understand, I'm not a biologist, but it was sort of like a dumb death,
It was very dumb.
because like it was like a ray, right? Like a
Yeah, the
Uh-huh.
stingray's tail, I guess, stung
Stingray
him
and-
right where it needed to sting him to like.
yeah, like
But
like most of the times it wouldn't really get you in a trouble, but like this one just
Uh-huh.
fucking was practicing for months and knew where to. how to
no,
how-
wasn't it that he jumped out of a helicopter and landed on the ray?
I don't know about that. That sounds crazy.
No, I think that was a mushroom trip you had. No, it was in the sea, right? And then the stingray. There's a video of it and everything. I never seen it. I don't like. Are you the type of? You know what I don't like? Let me know if it, like. I don't like those videos of shit that happens to people. Like, I don't like that shit.
When you say shit that happens to people like that,
Like world star, like world's hip hop
Or
world
like
star, whatever.
Indian
like,
man
those
gets
type-
mauled by a tiger.
No, I mean
Yeah,
random.
random
Well,
footage.
depends. Like if it's like, if it. I mean, depends. But I'm talking about just like man gets beat up, or yeah, like shit like that. I don't know, like Steve Irwin death. Like I'm not comfortable watching that. Like I don't like. I think that's disrespectful of it. But I do understand like the morbidity in the human mind.